get started. X out of this. We're gonna go to Firebase and create a new project. So make sure that you have Firebase, make sure that you're logged in. Once you're here, you can see the URL, you can just go to this URL. We're gonna create a Firebase project. And then here we can just name it whatever we want. Firebase CRUD 2025. Continue. You can just enable this for if you want to see the analytics, if you want to like publish your project or something. We're just gonna click continue, and here we're gonna default account for Firebase. So while we're waiting for this, we're gonna go open our command prompt. We're gonna create the project, the React project. So npx create React app. And I'm assuming that you guys already have the Create React app npx installed. So npx create React app Firebase CRUD 2025. Okay, so let us create a project that is all caps. So Firebase CRUD 2025. While that's doing its thing, we're gonna go back to our Firebase. Then here we're gonna click continue, and then we're gonna create a application and a web application. Here we can just name whatever we want, CRUD 2025, and register app. This is gonna create our SDK, and we need these SDK. We need to add this in our code. So we're gonna copy this. We're gonna go back to our command prompt. We're gonna wait for this. Once that's done, we're gonna do cd Firebase, or whatever the name of the project. We're gonna do cd Firebase CRUD 2025, and then we're gonna do npm install Firebase. That is the library that we need in order for all this to work. Once that's done, we're gonna do code dot to open our VS Code. We can just close this command prompt, and then here in our source, since we already installed Firebase, we can now click on source, and we're going to create a file called firebase.js, and this is where we're gonna paste this the SDK. So we're gonna paste it, Control V, and save. Now we're gonna have to add two more lines here. So import get Firestore from Firebase Firestore, and then here we're gonna do export constant. We're gonna export the database, so we're gonna use it for later. Get Firestore, and we're gonna pass in the application. We're gonna save it, and we can just close this file. We don't have to use it, we don't have to touch it anymore. After that, we're gonna do npm run start, just to make sure everything is working. Oh, I already have one that's running. Let me cancel that. Let's redo it. So it looks like it's working. We're gonna go back to our code and delete this part. We don't need it. We're also gonna delete the logo. We don't need it. And here we're gonna import few libraries. So we're gonna put use state and use effect, and we're gonna use the use effect for reading the database from React. We're also gonna import some functions, multiple functions from the Firestore library. So we're gonna do import collection, the add doc for adding document, for git docs for getting all the documents, delete docs, delete doc for deleting a document. We're gonna get a doc, update doc for updating a document, and on snapshot. And on snapshot is a real-time snapshot of the database, so we can do our reading real time. So we're gonna save this, import from Firebase Firestore. Then we're also going to import our database. Now this is these are functions from Firestore, and this we're gonna import our database from Firebase file that we just created, and this is our database. So what we need to do, get started on our CRUD. First we're gonna do create. So we're gonna do create. Here we just need an input and a button that says submit. Here, in order for we're gonna just put an on chain E, should be a curly bracket, not a parentheses, E, and then we're gonna do set new to do e the target dot. But since this is not yet defined, we're gonna do here at tab cons new to do set new to do and use state and click and save. And for submit, we're gonna do on click create to do. Here we're gonna do const create to do async. We're gonna pass in the event, and we're gonna use the add doc function from Firestore. So once we have our to-dos text, let's go back to our website. It's yelling, it's saying that create to do is not yet defined. That's what we're doing right now. So if you see this text, this input and the button, once we set our text, our to do, we're gonna do event, we're gonna prevent default. Now just in case that the input is empty, new to do, if we trim and that's empty, we're just gonna return and not do anything else. We're gonna do await, we're gonna add the document, we're gonna get our to do reference. We have to create this, and we're gonna pass in our text, our new to do. So we need this to do's ref. We need this reference. So here we're gonna do const to to do ref, and we're gonna use the collection function. We're gonna grab our database, and we're gonna grab the collection name to do's. Now once we added the document, we're just gonna reset the to do, and the to do should now work. I mean, the create to do should now work if once we click submit. Now before we can do that, we're gonna go back to our Firebase, click continue to console, and see, we're gonna click on Cloud Firestore, and then we're gonna create database. Click next, start in production mode, create. Once that's done, we're gonna have to go to rules and change false to true, or else we won't be able to write our bit to our database. So change the false to true and then click publish, and that should be good to go. Now let's go back to our website and test it out. So here we're gonna do wash the dishes, and then we're gonna click submit. Missing or insufficient permission. Did it get saved? Let's get rid of that first line and then save. I'm not sure if we have to do that, but I think we're just gonna have to do some waiting. But let's redo it. Wash the dishes and submit. So I click submit. Let's go back to our Firebase, and we're gonna click on data. So it looks like it is now saved. So the create part is not working. Our next part is to do the reading. So now let's go back to our code, and in order for us to do the reading, we're gonna use effect. So here we're gonna do read. We're gonna use effect, and we're gonna run this every time that something changes on our website. So use effect, we're just gonna see on snapshot. This is a real-time snapshot of our database. So this function comes from a library from Firestore, so we're gonna use that function. So on snapshot, we're gonna grab our to-dos, reference, collection, and then use that snapshot to create a variable items snapshot documents, and then we're gonna traverse through all of the documents. For each document, we're gonna grab the document ID and all of the data, which in this case it's just the text. Now this document data is just whatever we have here. So let's say we have text, we have the time, we have was it completed, and all that. but in this case we just have the text for data. See, Snapchat, docs, map. And then there we go. And then here we're gonna do set to-dos, and then we're gonna just set it to the items. But of course we have to create a user state for this. It's gonna be an array use state, so const to-dos, set to-dos, use state, and it's gonna be initially it's gonna be just an empty array. Click save. So now we have our to-dos, the list of our to-dos. Our next step is to render all of our to-dos. So here we're gonna do to-dos that map to-do. Here we're just gonna render our to-do that text. 47 to-do that text. Make sure that it's wrapped in one div. Save, and let's go back to our website. So we now see one of our to-do. Let's add one more. Let's say clean room. We're gonna click submit, and it's gonna read that real time. Now once that's done, let's do our delete. So we are rendering all out of our to-dos. Next to the text, we're gonna do a button that says delete. We're gonna save this, and let's go back to our website and see. So if we click delete, we want to delete these to-do from our database. So we're gonna create a function. We're gonna say delete here. And we're gonna create a function called delete to-do. And what we need here is we need the ID. Here we're going to do await. We're going to use the function from Firestore library, delete document. We're going to grab the document, grab our database, and we're going to say from to-dos collection, and we need to delete this ID. We're going to pass in the ID. And that's really it for delete to-do function. What we're going to do now is just pass this in. So in the delete button, we're going to do on click and just pass in that delete to do. And of course we need to pass in the ID. The to do ID. And then that's pretty much it for delete. So let's test this out. So let's say we want to delete wash the dishes. Okay, now that should not be in our database anymore. So let's go to our database and we don't see the wash the dishes to do anymore. So let's say we want to delete this as well, and that should not be in our database. There you go. Now the last part is update. Now for the update, say I'm just gonna submit here. It says submit. Let's go back to our code. Here, we're gonna create another button that says update or edit. There you go. Now, if we click edit, we want to change this to an input element. So, in order to do that, we need to we need to use the ID of the to-do. So we're gonna do, in order to keep up with the ID, we need to save the ID of the document that we're gonna edit. So set edit ID and use state. So since this is an ID, we're gonna put null instead of an empty string, and then we're also gonna keep up with we need to keep track of the edit text. Set edit text and use state, and this is gonna be an empty string. Now here, what we have to do is, if the edit ID is the same as the edit, if the edit ID is the same as the to-do ID, we're going to render the input. Element, else we're just gonna render the to-do. So in this case, just like that. So everything should be working as is. What you have to just worry about is this bar right here. If the edit ID, let's say right here, if we click edit on this to do, we're gonna set on click set edit ID set ID to do that ID. Once we click that edit, we're gonna set the edit ID to this ID. Now, if this is true, for that to do, we're gonna render input. And a button that says update, and one more button that says just cancel. Okay, so let's just, and for input we're gonna put value. It's gonna be the edit text. I made a mistake here. And for edit button, it's gonna be multiple, two functions that's gonna be running. It's gonna be set and set text, edit text to do that text. And there you go. Now we're gonna go back to our website and we're gonna click on edit. There you go. And say we want to cancel. Right now we don't have a function for cancel, but it's really easy. What we're going to do is just copy this on click. If we click cancel, we're just gonna reverse this. So we're gonna do a null, and for the edit text could be just an empty string, and we're gonna click save. We're gonna test it. We're gonna click cancel, and should go back. So should go back to the default to do this. So let's go back to our edit. What we need to do now is work on the update function. So let's go back to our code and worry about the update function. Now here, if we click update, we're just gonna do a save the update, and we're gonna pass in the to-do.id. Now of course we need to create this function first, so we need to go to here, say update, and then once save update async. We're gonna use the ID that we pass in, and then await update document. We're gonna grab our database, say that we need to update the to-dos collection. We're gonna pass in the ID and the new to-do updated to-do. So text, the edit text, and after we update our to-do, we need to set edit ID back to null, set edit text into string, and that should be it. So let's change the test, and let's just do something like wash. We need to do one more thing here, on change. Set edit text e, the target, the value, put e here, and that should be it. So let's go and test it. Test, instead of test, we're gonna do wash the dishes, and we're gonna click update, and the database should also get updated. Wash the dishes. We're gonna put one more thing: clean room, wash car, submit, and let's say we want to delete clean room, and we're gonna edit wash car, just wash car tomorrow, and we're gonna do update. We're gonna do delete, and it looks like everything is working. Create is working, the reading is working, update is working, and the delete is working. Like I said, I'm not worried about the CSS part here. I just want to show you guys how to do the create, read, update, delete part. I could probably do the CSS for the next video. I'm also gonna push this to my GitHub repo, so you should be able to have access to that and do whatever. But yeah, pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop a comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.